Okay, we're good to go.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call our meeting to order. Today is March 24th, 2020, and this is a business meeting of the North Kingstown School Department. I will ask if we could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so I'm going to start by mentioning that this is not a normal school committee meeting. Pursuant to the Executive Order number 20-05 issued by the Governor of the State of Rhode Island, and the fact that the State of Rhode Island and the Town of North Kingstown have both declared states of emergency due to the current widespread outbreak of the COVID virus, the Governor has authorized public boards and elected boards to meet electronically and virtually during this state of emergency. And we are doing that. The school committee members are by audio only, and some members of the administration are, with appropriate social distancing, taking part in their conference room. So that is why this meeting is the way it is. Just a couple sort of ground rules for our participants. Because of the way this is working, I'd ask that people not speak unless I recognize you. So as we go through each agenda item, I'll ask if anyone would like to speak. Otherwise, we just kind of talk over each other, and it gets difficult to hear who's saying what. If you are watching the live stream as well, if you could mute the audio on your device just so that we don't have any feedback, because that'll cause a feedback loop. Mrs. Healy, I'll ask if you could please call the roll.
Mr. Glassbach?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Ms. Fox here?
Yes. Here.
Mrs. Hildebrand? Here. Mrs. Hoskins? Mr. Mather?
Here.
Mrs. Shaw? Ann Etchell? Joe Vento?
Here.
Phil O'Shea?
Yes, here.
Denise Mansuri?
Here.
Mary King?
Here.
Marianne Carroll?
Here.
And Amy Healy. Thank you.
Okay. So we have a quorum 4 out of 5 school committee members, and we went through the role of the members of the administration and other people who are participating in our meeting. So I'm going to get started. We had sent out a notice in the agenda, due to the unusual nature of this meeting, that we would accept citizens' comments by email. Mrs. Healy, you haven't received anything, correct?
We have not received any.
Okay. So having not received any citizens' comments, we'll carry on to our agenda. So first we have the consent agenda. So I'm going to exempt item A2. And other than that, I'd ask if we could have a motion to approve the remaining item A1 on the consent agenda. And if when you speak, can you say your name so we know who it is, please?
So moved. Jake Mather.
I have a motion from Mr. Mather and a second from
Lisa Hildebrand.
Lisa. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll do, all right, if it's not unanimous, we will do a roll call vote so we know who's saying what. If I don't hear any objections, we'll mark it down as a unanimous vote if it goes that way. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any noes? Any abstentions? Hearing none, we'll mark that as a unanimous 4-0 vote. And next, I'm going to ask, I will make a motion to table item A2. If I could have a second.
Second. Jake Mather.
A second from Mr. Mather. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any noes? Any abstentions? motion is tabled, passes unanimously. Next item on our agenda is the coronavirus emergency staffing plan. So item number 1, we were all emailed a memorandum of understanding with the North Kingstown ESP Union. So I'll ask for a motion to approve item B1.
So moved. Jake Mather.
And do I have a second?
Second, Lisa Hildebrand.
Okay, we'll give it to Lisa. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the memorandum of understanding? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Now, with respect to item B2, what I'm going to do is make a motion. And the motion I'm going to make is that the superintendent is authorized to essentially find, distance learning and, alternative creative things for all the employees in the district to do in this difficult time. So, people are going to be working remotely. People are going to be doing jobs that are not necessarily their normal jobs, and people are going to be doing jobs that are their normal jobs in very different ways. So let me clarify my motion. So my motion is that the superintendent can authorize employees to work remotely and to work outside of their normal jobs to fill needs within the district, and that those employees that are working will be compensated, as they normally would, and that authorization will make good through the current dismissal of or distance learning portion of school, which is through April, what's the date? I'm sorry?
3rd.
April 3rd. So that is my motion. If I could have a second.
Second.
Okay,
Jake Mather.
from Mr. Mather. And then just discussion-wise, with respect to that, we're going to sort of take things as the governor and commissioner are doing. They're doing it sort of 2 weeks at a time. I anticipate that we'll have some more guidance in the next week or so as to what's going to happen beyond that April 3rd date, and we'll need to, look at what we're going to be doing going forward. But that's where we stand right now. Any further discussion from anyone else? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, any abstentions? That passes unanimously. Next, with respect to the state of emergency, I've drafted a motion to just ensure that the superintendent has the authority. At this point, it's very difficult for people to get together for physical meetings. It's difficult for the school committee to convene. We're looking at how we're going to do these meetings going forward, with the possibility that this may continue. And we'll have to have other meetings virtually. This is working. We got this put together for now, but we're going to look at maybe other options of doing remote meetings that are maybe a little more efficient if we can. But for now, this is what we've got, and I want to make sure that the superintendent is able to, act and deal with any emergencies and issues that come up in the district, even though it may be difficult for the school committee to get together for a formal meeting. And so for that reason, I'm going to make a motion. And Ms. Healy, I will email this to you so you have it in actual text, but I'm going to read my motion here. My motion is that for the duration of the state of emergency enacted by the State of Rhode Island and the North Kingstown Town Council, I move that the North Kingstown School Committee grant the superintendent with the authority to make all necessary decisions that he believes are in the best interest of the health and safety of the North Kingstown students and staff, and to maintain the workings of the school department during this emergency. This emergency power shall include, but is not limited to, the authorization to authorize time-sensitive expenditures of an emergency nature, with the stipulation that the committee receive weekly reports and backup information related to any expenses so approved, that expenditure be budgeted or grant-funded, and that any item over $10,000 will be brought to either the vice chairperson or chairperson for specific approval. He would have the authority to lay off employees if necessary based on legal and contractual parameters, and the ability to terminate employees based upon contractual parameters. It is understood that this authority is in the absence of a timely school committee meeting, can be withdrawn by the chairman at any time, and the superintendent shall consult with the chairperson and vice chairperson on these decisions. So that is my motion. If I could have a second.
Second, this is Lisa.
Okay, I have a second from Ms. Hildebrand. And just for discussion, so, again, the idea is we want to make sure that the superintendent is able to, react as needed in this time of emergency. The idea is that this authority is not for routine matters. When we're able to get together and approve items, we will do that. But I don't have a situation where the superintendent has to do something, and due to the difficulty of us getting together for a formal meeting, that he's not able to act on something that needs to get done. And as things are going right now, and things are changing hour by hour and day to day on guidance, I think we need to make sure that he has the flexibility that he needs. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that passes unanimously, and we have reached the end of our agenda. So I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
No.
Okay, I have a motion from Ms. Hildebrand. Do I have a second?
Second. Jake
A
Mather.
second from Mr. Mather. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you all. This is an unusual circumstance. Everyone stay safe.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you.